Oh my goodness. I am so late to this. Well, there's not really much else I can do except cover it now. Reality Resort Episode 3 came out, and I meant to get to it a lot sooner, but I just, didn't, and, that's my bad. It's not because I didn't like the episode. On the contrary, I think this one is pretty good, probably the best of the 3 we've seen so far. But it's good in the same way that receiving an Amazon package is good. I mean, it's exciting that we have more content, but it doesn't leave us with too much to discuss. But if I was creating a passion project of this scale and there was a YouTuber going to review it, I would want them to give me my fair dues, and so that is what I'm going to try to do. Because as a creator, that kind of thing is what gives you the serotonin boost you need to get through the day. Now immediately the first thing I want to talk about is the animation, because between episodes 2 and 3, Reality Resort actually swapped animation studios. And I for one think that the new animation looks really nice. It's not different enough to be jarring, but it's distinct enough to give it some identity from those first 2 episodes. Now I'm not an animation expert, so I can't really go into detail on how this show looks. But I really like how fluid everything looks. We get to see a few different facial expressions and camera angles that we probably wouldn't have gotten to see if this show stuck with Odd Nations. And Odd Nations clearly has a very talented animation team, but given what Cove and the crew are trying to go for with Reality Resort, I think this change was for the better. Seeing this show develop its own style in real time is pretty cool. And I think as a result of that, I was able to better connect with the episode as a whole. A lot of these scenes do a great job at catching your attention, just based on how they look, how they move, and how they're shot. And while the show is probably going to lose that effect as we get more episodes and we grow more used to this style of animation, I think this episode looks great, and I think that needs to be addressed. The animation is probably the biggest positive I can give to the episode, but there's still a few other things worth talking about. Not every character was a standout this episode, but I at least want to talk about Kylie, Finn, and Marcus. I felt pretty much nothing towards Kylie in the first few episodes, but I think she really comes into her own here. I don't think she's all that funny, but I found her personality and jokes to be very charming. Now, it is very, very easy to get a character like this wrong, but I feel like Kylie toes the line between energetic without being over the top. She's one of the few characters in this show that I could actually see myself hanging out with, and I don't think I would have said that an episode ago. She is a dork, and I really like her now. And I would be worried about her potentially getting eliminated, but come on. I know Cove's writing, and I can say with utmost confidence that Cheryl is not the type of character he's going to want to write long term. I can think of a few possible storylines for Cheryl, but all of them involve taking away focus from another character, and that is a very valuable resource right now. Between the two of them, Kylie is clearly the one with the setup, and I doubt they're going to spend all that time letting Cheryl play catch-up. So she's probably gone next, which I think is going to be good for Kylie in the long run. Given that Seth's, this guy. Oh my god, I can't speak today. His elimination was good for Topaz and Tino, so I'm thinking that when Cheryl goes out, Kylie's going to get a big boost, as is Finn, who, credit where it's due, I think his accent did get a little better. Don't get me wrong, I am certainly not a fan of his now, but I've gone from outright disliking him to being pretty neutral towards him. There's some pretty good ideas here, like with his ex, and I will be honest, I'm a little curious to see how that plays out, especially given the massive fallout that is likely to happen in episode 4. But before we can talk about that, we're going to need to talk about Marcus, who, as of this episode, I think I understand the appeal. I think his sense of humor just sort of clicked with me. Even though he never made me laugh, I think he's very funny and charismatic. Although given that he is voiced by Michael Kim, I think that was to be expected. But on top of that, I like how he seems to be a genuine threat. If this guy was all talk and no action, I'm gonna be honest, I think that would have been kinda lame. That kind of thing works for some characters, but not all of them, and Marcus I feel is someone who should have some game sense. Fortunately he does, and because of that, the scene with him and Finn is the highlight of the episode. Unlike Brad, who used subtle manipulation tactics to get his way, Marcus is very upfront and aggressive. Which I like, because having two antagonists with different approaches to the game is really good for variety. It makes you wonder what would happen if they crossed paths strategically, which probably isn't going to happen for a while, but it is fun to think about. I don't think Marcus is a big threat or anything, but he provides a good enough obstacle to Finn, which in this case, you can't really ask for much more. Marcus forcing Finn to blow up his alliance with Cheryl and Kylie is honestly a lot more interesting than that alliance was in general. Although this does kind of lead into one weird thing that happens at the voting thing. When we get to the ceremony, Kylie and Cheryl are already glaring at Finn like they know he betrayed them. They shouldn't. It's really not clear what happened here, but after rewatching this scene, I think Finn came clean about the alliance off screen. And the only reason why I think that writing decision was made is because they want to save that scene for a later episode so it'll have more impact. But regardless of intention, the fact that we don't see the scene where Finn comes clean to the team and then Cheryl and Kylie's subsequent reactions, it feels like there's a very important scene missing from the episode and there's nothing to bridge the gap between the Marcus confrontation and the ceremony. That left me looking at context clues trying to figure out what happened, which kinda dulled the impact of the vote. I guess this could be a me thing, so if there is an answer that I just completely missed for some reason, please let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I think it's so weird that something like this just gets glossed over considering other things in the episode are explained with a lot more detail than they really need to be. Take this scene for example.
Your crotch goblin wishes.
You know, when my children fight, it's usually just their way of saying, I love you.
Considering I've known this dork for 5 days, there's not a single chance.
Oh, sweetie, I didn't mean it like that. I just mean, maybe you two have more in common than you realize.
I think we got the point there, but even with all of those problems in mind, I still think that this is a pretty damn good episode. There are a few other things I could talk about, namely Olive and VJ, but I think the brunt of their dynamic is going to be featured in future episodes. So until then, I will sit patiently and wait for the next episode to see how these two unfold. So overall, I enjoyed myself with this episode. I don't know for sure if I'd rank it above episode 2, but they're both very close. Go give it a watch if you haven't already. Now normally this would be where the video ends, but I kinda need to keep going for like a minute or so I can get mid-rolls, so I figure I'll take some time to tell you about what I've got planned. The next video I make will be about BFDI. I know a lot of you have been asking for it, and I've really wanted to do content on it for a while, but I've also wanted to do this show justice because it is very near and dear to my heart. I'm really proud of the script that I wrote, so I hope that when I make it into a video, you guys will enjoy it as well. After that, I think I'm gonna do something Megamix related, and if possible, I might direct your attention to another music tournament that I think y'all will like. I also want to tackle Inanimate Insanity after a little while, but that first video is going to be pretty long and kind of intensive, so don't expect it soon, but the wait will be worth it. I hope. And then on top of all of that, I might be hitting 5,000 subscribers soon, which genuinely does not feel real. I can't properly thank you all enough for supporting this channel. You guys are the best, and I hope your pillow is cold. I hope all your food is hot. I hope that a bunch of good things happen to you. Okay, bye.